All right, you hear that call out, and you know it's time to talk all things Jets football. Welcome, Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital at MC Show Digital. Hit the thumbs up, like our video, and also subscribe, please. If you get in within the next 180 or so subscribers, you can win yourself a brand new golf club, courtesy of our friends at Play It Again Sports. Today's broadcast brought to you by our friends at Cam's Pizzeria. We talk Jets with them every single week. He's our Jets insider. Let's welcome in the great Jake Asman. What's up, Jake? How are you?
I've been better. I've been better. The
That's
Jets.
a loaded question today.
Yeah,
isn't it?
you know, the Jets, they can't win a game. The Yankees can never beat the Red Sox, seemingly in a big spot. Now, hopefully that changes tonight. I'm not going to completely give up on them. We'll see. But it has not been a great 48 hours to be a diehard Jet and Yankee fan. That's for sure.
Well, Jake, over the years of the radio show and now into the digital world, I often find myself to be a therapist of sorts. So if you need a little therapy today, I'm here for you, brother. I'm here for you. No, I've been through the pain too. I mean, I know my team got a win this week, for crying out loud, but there's still a great deal of pain to be dealt with for a lot of New York sports fans.
It's been tough. It's been tough.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd be saying this growing up, but thank God for the Knicks who start their season in a couple of weeks.
Thank God for the Knicks. Didn't we just say that? Oh my God. Yeah, we'll see how that goes with Mike Brown. That could be a whole can of worms that we didn't want either, Jake. So, but you know, it looks good on paper right now, but will it be good on the court? I don't know. Let me pick it up first with a little bit of post-game comments. This comment that Aaron Glenn made, which was fascinating to me, and I think we've heard Bill Parcells say this in the past. Before you can win games, you have to learn how not to lose games. And certainly the Jets are on that path of trying to figure out how not to lose games. We saw the fumble near the goal line with Braylon Allen and some other mistakes and the penalties. Oh, the penalties, Jake. I want to cry every time another penalty gets called. And the Jets were even robbed, dare I say, a little bit by the officials. Probably not the reason they lost, but there were some missed calls for sure that we saw very, very clearly on television. Let's talk about what Aaron Glenn had to say about learning how to not lose games. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, because if you look at how the Jets have lost a lot of these games, especially the game on Monday, they've beaten themselves with turnovers and penalties. I mean, this is a Jets team that has not forced a defensive takeaway all season. Neither had Miami going into the game, and the Jets lose the turnover battle 3-0. You're just not going to win that way on top of 13 penalties, and it was the most penalties the Jets have ever committed on offense over the last 25 years, the second most in a game that they've had in franchise history. They had 9 offensive penalties, and 5 of them came before the snap. So that's, false starts, illegal motion, guys not knowing where to line up. There was a delay of game in there that was terrible. It was a slot fest, and they still had a chance to win the game. I think a lot of it had to do with Miami not being a great team, and also like the Jets offensively, they did a lot of good in that game. Like the opening drive, it ends with the Braylon Allen fumble, but they ran it down the Dolphins' throat. They outgained Miami by 100 yards in total offense. I don't think Justin Fields was the problem at all in this one on Monday. It's one of those games where you look back on it and go, we should have won, but we said this a lot last year and everyone wanted to blame, and I think it was fair, blame the coaching staff, and they got fired. Well, Aaron Glenn vowed to change a lot of this stuff, and it's early. I'm not saying fire the guy or by any means like some are online. I think that's crazy. But 4 games in, I don't know how you could not be incredibly disappointed with what we have seen from this football team. Not that we had the highest of expectations, and they still can't seem to clear that bar.
Jake, I'm a Kanye West fan. I know he's not, popular among everybody. Yeezus, pour one out for him. But he's got this song Blame Game. And one of the things that has been divisive among Jet fans is who to blame. Is it the coaches? Are they screwing it up? Or is it the players? Because you mentioned the 3 fumbles. Isaiah Williams is another one. How is this guy still on this team at the potential recording of this conversation? You had Justin Fields who had a fumble. You had Braylon Allen's fumble that we just talked about. So I throw it over to you because it's divisive among fans. Some people are just totally blaming the coaching staff, saying that the players are right, the talent's right, the coaches are effing it up. And then we've heard the other side. The coaches, hey, they're not informing them to fumble during practice, and some of these other mistakes they're making. Some of that is just on the players not performing and playing up to snuff. Who do you blame?
I think I put more of it on the coaches than I do the players. The players are still responsible, though, because I look at it like this. Aaron Glenn came in, and he said this was going to stop. He vowed to change it, and it's not improving. In fact, it's getting worse. And I didn't like the whole, we're not the same old Jets. Like you say that after you lose to Tampa, and then you follow that up with what we just watched on Monday. I put that on coaching. The message is either not getting across, or guys are, don't have any fear of actually being held accountable if they make a mistake. What really bothered me, Paul, how about the fact Isaiah Williams fumbles the kickoff to start the third quarter? Why is he still out there on punt return to then fair catch at the 2-yard line later on in the game. Like that bothered me more than the fumble. It's just like things like that I point to. Michael Clemens never getting disciplined for his silly penalties and poor performance, right? Like the fact that Tony Adams has not played well. Well, he played the entire game Monday night. Malachi Moore only played 2 snaps. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy with some of the comments the coach has made so far, and they got to just win games, man. That's really what it comes down to. But the sloppiness, the beating of yourself, the turnovers, these are all things that we criticize Saleh, Ulbrich, Gase, Bowles. Like this is to a T what it has been, and it's only 4 games. I say that with everything I'm saying now. It's only 4 games. I'm not saying it can't get better, but it hasn't gotten better, and I think that's very concerning.
Injuries, one of them in this game was Braylon Allen, and it happened actually on a kick return, which was interesting that he was in on the kick return team. Is that a problem in terms of how Aaron Glenn is managing personnel, and should, dare I say, Allen be out there on the special teams?
I thought so. And look, this is a problem that has plagued the Jets since the summer. We knew there were issues with keeping Xavier Gipson on this team, and that ends up costing them a game. And then Isaiah Williams is the guy they replaced Xavier Gipson with, and he had a fumble as well on the kick return. I never understood why Braylon Allen was on the kick return. I want them to try and give Arian Smith potentially an opportunity there. I think it's easy to say, oh, he got hurt because he was on kick returns. That is true. It's unfortunate though. You never expect that to happen. It's a bummer for Braylon Allen, who obviously we all remember the fumble, but he was having a really good game that night too. So it's a shame. But I mean, look, I think it's fair to be critical just because it's not even just the Braylon Allen decision. It's all the decisions they've made on who's returning kicks and punts. It's cost them at least a game this year, and you could argue it honestly has maybe cost them 2 games if you think about it.
Again, we're speaking with Jake freaking Asman, baby. ESPN New York, the Jake Asman Show. I mean, we could continue to list all the wonderful accolades for the Jake Asman here on the program. Now, Jake, we can't list all the accolades for the Jets because they're 0-4. And before the year, I looked at the schedule and said, oh, Saints suck. I can't wait to play them. And now it's like one of those memes or jokes where I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh, wow. We're the same. Saints are 0-4, Jets are 0-4, Titans are 0-4. So I don't even want to think about this. I'm normally a positive guy, Jake, but I saw this conversation on social media, so I want to bring it to you. If this season continues to go in the direction that it appears to be going, and the Jets finish, 0-17 seems hard to believe, but 0-17, 1-16, 2-15, 3-14, you tell me the number. Is there a number that if the Jets don't reach this, you could say, okay, you got to fire Aaron Glenn?
I mean, look, if they go out there and they continue to lose the way they've lost, right? I think it's one thing to lose. It's how they're losing. If they're losing because they're committing 13 penalties for 101 yards, if they're losing because they continue to make dumb mistakes like fair catching a punt at the 2-yard line, turning the ball over. If that continues to happen and say they win 3 games or less, it's at least a conversation, no? Because you got to think about it like this. If you're picking that high, you're likely taking a quarterback in that spot. Probably. Do you trust this head coach and general manager to properly evaluate that position and make a franchise-defining selection? Because if we've seen this as Jet fans, you miss on the quarterback, you set your franchise back years. They're still reeling from the mistakes of Sam Darnold and Zach Wilson most recently in the top 3 of the draft. So if they're that bad, it's at least a conversation. Did we make a mistake? Is it worth it just to say, we screwed up, let's bring someone else in with experience, or pair up this young quarterback we're about to take with a proven offensive coach that could develop them? These are the conversations you're at least having. I'm not advocating for it because I want Aaron Glenn to do well, and it's 4 games, and I don't think they're going to be as bad as what that conversation would entail, but it's at least a conversation. How could it not be?
Talking with Jake Asman, Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital. Don't forget, like our video. Also hit the subscribe button. We'd love for you to be one of our lovely subscribers. Let's talk about a debut and perhaps a return. We are going to get probably our first look at the new corner that was acquired by the Jets for essentially a bag of coffee, and that is Brownlee Jr. Let's talk about that. And Jermaine Johnson, what's the likelihood that we might see him back in the lineup this week for the Jets?
Well, I did see before I jumped on with you guys that Aaron Glenn said that Jermaine Johnson's day-to-day, which is positive for him potentially trending for playing Sunday. He went from week to week to day-to-day, so that's an improvement there. By the way, speaking of kickoffs, Kene Nwanu, who is their kickoff returner, who got hurt in that week 1 game against Pittsburgh, he's day-to-day too, so that's trending positively for him to be out there against Dallas. So I do think if both those guys play, that's a nice boost. It sounds like Michael Carter won't play, so good thing they made the deal for Brownlee because it sounds like he will make his debut and probably play in that slot corner position for the Jets. So, look, do I think the Jets defense is going to play better? It's hard to play worse than they played through the first 4 games, and I think getting Jermaine back should help. I am curious to see what Brownlee looks like. I like his mentality. I like how he plays with like in anger at that position. He's not afraid to hit and tackle. I think this defense needs more of that. So I'm cautiously optimistic that can help, but the biggest thing with this Jets season that has just killed me is just how bad the defense is. Because I understand it's not the same talent they had even a few years ago. Still a lot of guys that have been a part of this team the last few years, and they should not be this bad. So they all got to play better, and hopefully getting a couple of these guys back, as we discussed, will allow them to do something Sunday. Because, Dallas has the ability to put up points. They just put up 40 on Green Bay. If the Jets go out there and just gift wrap them easy touchdowns, I know the Jets offense has been okay at times. They're not built to play a high-scoring game. They have to find a way to get some stops.
Yeah, you mentioned the defense and how underwhelming it's been from a surprising standpoint. And one of the biggest surprises in a bad way for me, I'm like, well, all right, Michael Carter had all these injuries last year. Makes sense. They tried to play it through. Didn't work out, but he's healthy now. Let's go to town. And he sucked. He's been terrible. He can't cover anybody. Can't tackle. Even in the Dolphins game, there's a 3rd and 10. I'm like, all right, Jets, you got to get off the field in these third downs. It's so critical. And Jalen Waddle just gave him a quick move, ran right by him. Easy first down. And now, to the point with the concussion protocol, he's unlikely to play here in week 5 against the Cowboys. I want to start off first here with Michael Carter. Are you ready to rip the Band-Aid off here and get rid of this guy, which is crazy to say because before last season, he became the highest paid nickel defender in the league. Last year was a wash because of injuries. This year it looks awful. Are we ready just to move on from MC2, which is wild to say?
I think it will depend on how he looks the rest of the way. I think if he continues to struggle, I could easily see him being a cap casualty this offseason. I mean, this regime didn't draft him. They didn't develop him. They didn't pay him. They can get out of his contract. And then they already added Brownlee, who's under team control now for a couple of years. And he's a guy that probably fits the personality and the physicality type of corner that Aaron Glenn would want for his defense. I could see it, Boy Green. I don't think they do it in season. I think they need depth there. And you hope Carter could come back. And, I think it's not going to be a season-ending concussion, right? I think he could be out for a game, and then you hope he returns, and you have some more depth there. It's a shame because I don't think he forgot how to play football. I just think the injuries he suffered, it's affected his ability to play at a high level. I think his body maybe has not recovered properly from these injuries, and it's affected him. It's a shame because this is a guy that was one of like the best moves that you could point to that the previous regime made. They drafted this guy on day 3, developed into an outstanding nickel corner, one of the best in the league. You paid him, and that was the right move, and it just hasn't worked because typical Jets. But it's been a bummer. Hopefully he comes back, plays well, and you want to keep him, not just, we could save cap by getting rid of him.
Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital, talking with Jake Asman, our Jets insider. Today's broadcast brought to you by our friends at Cam's Pizzeria. Let's just take 30 seconds, learn a little bit more about our friends from Cam's.
When you think of Cam's Pizzeria, think about 2 of your favorites. Their zesty buffalo chicken wing pizza or their tasty chicken bacon ranch. Over 16 specialty pizzas made fresh daily with the best ingredients. Indulge in their homemade calzones, subs, wraps, salads, and their famous cannolis for dessert. They're all made with love just for you. Order online for 10% off at camspizza.com. Locations in Camillus and Oswego. Cam's Pizzeria. It's love at first slice.
All right, Jake Asman, let's talk about what the Jets have in front of them this week, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. Boy Green and I will actually be down in person at the game doing a big-time tailgate. I want to talk to you about your little party that you had down in Tampa in a couple of minutes, but let's talk about the game first. So what kind of problems do the Cowboys present? We know without Micah Parsons, that defense isn't nearly as tough as it once was.
I think they could score, right? Look at their offense. Look at the yards per game. Aren't they number 1 in the NFL going into this one? So you just watched them on Sunday night against a really good defense, score at will. So I think that's what they do. Obviously, at a high level, they got a legit quarterback. They got some weapons even without CeeDee Lamb playing in this one. George Pickens is still really good. So look, the Cowboys defense is vulnerable, but they're able to score. And I think with the way the Jets defense is played, you can't exactly feel great about the Jets' chances of keeping them below 30 points.
Look at it.
Yeah, baby.
That's wearing this week too. I bet you are. You wearing that down there?
1,000%, baby. Shout out to the folks over at FOCO, FOCO.com, baby. They got us all ready. So, Jake, let's get into it. Let's get away from the field for a second because the field has given us some all kinds of topics to talk about. But you hosted a party down there in Tampa. We're about to host Boy Green Coffee Club members, 60 plus of them at the Jets-Cowboys game, and thank God 99.9% of them are coming. Only one person has dropped out because of this godforsaken team, which it's hard to blame that individual. So everyone else is coming. We're hosting a big thing in the parking lot. Chef Kevin Gilbert, of course, you guys have done work together, which is awesome. He's doing the tailgate food with a cool menu. We're going to the restaurant the night before for a big meet and greet at his restaurant in the private room upstairs, which you guys were in before. We need advice. Any insights? You just went through this thing, Jake. You've done events before. T-Squared Social, I see you're a party animal. The Badlands events before the year. You're an event superstar. Okay, you're all over the friggin' place. So any advice for hosting one of these things? This is my first time hosting it. I've co-hosted events before, but I've never hosted an event like this before. Any advice from the great Jake Asman?
Well, since it is a Jet-related event, have a lot of booze available for your esteemed guest. That'd be my biggest thing, right? Because let's be real, the reality is, unfortunately, as a Jet fan, the best part of the actual day is going to be the pregame tailgate, which you're hosting. So you got to make sure people are just having fun. Remind them that the Jets might stink, but this fan base is great, and just let it rip, man. You guys are going to have a great time.
See, camaraderie. That's the way to do it. And give everyone one of those hats. That is a fantastic hat, boy.
That's right. If you got a cowboy Jet themed hat for everyone, that might go a long way. I don't know.
I don't know
if they have that available for you.
Yeah, I'm not sure on the. I don't know how much pull I have from that standpoint, but we'll certainly give it a whirl, baby. Yeah.
A word I want to throw out there, Jake, about this Jets team, and you tell me whether you think this word will exist sometime in this season. Does this team have resilience? I'm not going to use the word win. I'm going to use the word resilience. Can this team show some resilience at some point under Aaron Glenn?
I hope. I think at times you could say maybe they did, right? I mean, they showed some in Miami. They didn't just lie down and get killed. They fought back. You could say that about Tampa. But at some point, the resilience, it's going to lead to wins, because you're still, you showed resilience by having this miracle play by Will McDonald, for example, in week 3 against the Bucs. And then it's your defense has been bad all game. You just need one stop, man. If there's ever a time to sack up, for lack of a better description word, and just get it done, it's now. And they couldn't get it done week 1 either. They've lost 2 games where the defense had a chance to get off the field and get a stop and win the game, and they didn't. So I guess it's possible they do. To me, they've shown resiliency a little bit, but certainly not enough. And ultimately, the only thing that matters is getting some wins. And if you want a positive omen, the last time the Jets were 0-4 and they had a head coach who hadn't won a game yet, Adam Gase beat the Cowboys with Sam Darnold at MetLife Stadium in week 5 as well. So I think every Jet fan is hoping history will repeat itself on Sunday.
Well, I was at that game, and I'm going to be at this one, so hopefully that's a good omen, Jake Asman. Let me ask you this, because you mentioned that the Jets don't have a takeaway this season, which is crazy. Every other team in the league has at least one, if not multiple. The Jets don't have one. What do we have to do, Jake? You know this, me and you know this as Jet fans, okay? What do we have to do to land on a fumble? Because a lot of fumbles have been laying out there in the universe, but we haven't fallen on one. Do we have to sacrifice a small goat? What do we have to do to the football gods to just for once, this oblong-shaped football bouncing around that for one point, it happened in the Dolphins game a couple of times. Quentin Williams is a great punch-out. It's hanging out there forever. Dolphin falls on it. Bills game, it happened. Tua had a bobbled snap. It's happened a lot. There's been a lot of opportunities, yet the Jets haven't done it. What do we need to do to the gods to appease them in the old ways, to allow that the good energies and omens to hit us so we could do it at some point before I'm dead?
It's a great question. I don't know. I don't know what we as Jet fans did, I guess, in prior lives to deserve just the things that we experience. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, in particular with this fumble situation. They never, ever fall on a fumble. Sometimes they get a bad bounce, but there are just times the ball is just bouncing around there and no one could fall on it, or they do fall on it, but somehow it still pops out from a guy's stomach and goes somewhere else. It's been a problem for multiple coaching staffs now. It's been years of this. I don't know. I think, I was at the game a couple of years ago where the Jets would they went years without getting a roughing the passer call against them. And then it was a Monday night game against the Chargers in 2023. And Zach Wilson finally got hit late and they threw the flag. And you would have thought MetLife was seeing the Jets clinch a playoff spot or something with how loud it got. The fans are very much aware of that streak, and that was broken that night. And we're all certainly aware of the lack of being able to recover a fumble. And I do think if it happens Sunday when you're there, Boy Green, the crowd's going to react like it's like a touchdown in the fourth quarter of like a week 17 and you're in game. Like, it's crazy, man. They just never can fall on the ball. It's insane.
Yeah.
I'll give you a minute here, Jake, to talk about your Yankees. They're on the ropes against Boy Green's Red Sox. How the heck he's a Red Sox fan, I don't know.
It's hard to
he's got the weirdest allegiances ever in the history of mankind. You feeling the pressure here? Are you still confident? Boston seems to have New York's number this year for some reason.
I think matchup-wise, like the Yankees are in decent shape for today. My concern is every time they play the Red Sox and Alex Cora, like crazy things happen. They get outmanaged and they don't win. And that's really what it comes down to. And I think that was the case last night with some of the questionable moves the Yankees made. But, today you have the pitching advantage with Rodon going, and he's had a great year, but there's still a lot of Yankee fans out there, myself included, that just don't fully trust Rodon because of how bad year one was and some big games he has started the last few years. He hasn't always pitched great, but he's been awesome of late. And I do think the Yankees are going to play their best players today. Gee, what a concept to have Jazz Chisholm and Ben Rice in your lineup in a do or die 3-game set. So I think we will see the Yankees' best lineup. They have the pitching advantage. Boston had to use Chapman for a lot of pitches last night. Maybe he's somewhat compromised tonight. I think they still have a chance, but you lose the first game, it's tough. I mean, can they win 2 in a row? Sure, but I don't think it's going to be easy. That's for sure. I think it's going to be a very stressful night if you're a Yankee fan.
All right, let's do one more. Let's circle back to Jets-Cowboys. You mentioned this on your morning show. I'm a big fan of the Jake Asman show. Who the hell isn't, for God's sakes, being Asmaniac out there in the universe? And
That's
you
right.
mentioned this. You mentioned this on the show, that Aaron Glenn is in some very poor company at this point at 0-4. Adam Gase started his Jets tenure 0-4. Lou Holtz of 1976 before he quit later in that year, which is yeah, that happened, folks. Hit that with a Google search, kids. That was quite a chapter. Okay, he started 0-4, but neither of those men or any other man or woman on the planet as a Jets head coach has ever started 0-5. Yikes. That is possible this weekend if Aaron Glenn and the Jets slip up while we're there for Jets-Cowboys. I have to ask you, Jake. Is Aaron Glenn going to make some unique Jets history here that none of us want, or will he? What say you, Jake Asman?
I can't pick them until they win, Paul. I mean, I picked them the last 2 weeks thinking there's no way they're actually going to start 0-3 and then 0-4. Like, there's got to be a break. Like, teams, like even the bad teams, like win a game early before teams truly figure out who they are, who the good teams are. Like, the Eagles were 2-2 last year. So, like, that's been part of my thinking the last 2 weeks. Like, surely the Jets will find a way to win a game, but until they do, I can't pick them. I don't. And you're going to ask me, I'm sure, next week, who am I taking when they play the Broncos? I'm going to take Denver in that one, too. Like, I don't think this team is getting a win till I actually go to the game for the Panther one on the 19th this month. I got to see it, man. I don't want to be that guy. People think I'm too negative. I was one of the most positive Jet fans the last couple of years when I had reasons to feel that way. Now I don't. This team has been poorly coached, and until I see them win a game, it's tough to pick them. Can they win? Absolutely. It's not like they're playing, the 90s Cowboys on Sunday. But I don't feel great about it till I see it.
All right, Jake, anything going on with the Jake Asman show? Go ahead and plug whatever is out there, whatever you're up to.
We commiserate every day at 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Jet fans, so tune in live, and then you can hear me Sundays. Mike Tannenbaum and I, 8 to noon, and Mike hired Aaron Glenn. So if they don't turn it around, I will be getting on his ass because, my God, do we need to get this hire right, and I hope Glenn can turn it around.
All right. Therapy, more therapy coming your way, 10 a.m.
Yeah. We can say it all together. We could get this, phrase training. How about them Jets, baby? Yeah, let's go.
I do like that cowboy hat, Boy Green. All right, there he is, the great Jake Asman joining us on the program.